So with all of that said, I want to flip over to the NHL for a little bit because our hometown Vancouver Canucks have had a weird start to the year, to say the least. So, Big Red, I'm going to pass it to you. I think you had a couple thoughts and a question about what this team is doing.
I do. Well, you know, Canucks are 5-2-3 right now. Yeah. Not the start that we wanted, per se, as the fans would say.
No.
You know, but right now they are third in the Pacific.
We take that.
With the least amount of games. Yeah. And a -3 goal differential.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you see them improving at all? Do you think they even hit first again, or do you think they slot in second, third?
Okay. So when it comes to the Canucks, I have a lot of things to say on the positive side. I'm going to start with that first. Okay. You and I have been talking a lot about Dakota Joshua coming back. Now, anyone who isn't from Vancouver is probably going to hear that and say, Dakota Joshua coming back, ew. Yeah. But as we both know, as guys who watch him, energy guy, gosh, he plays hard every game, hard in the corners, wins puck battles, and obviously has unbelievable chemistry with Connor Garland, who I think has played well, but he looks a little, I don't want to say lost out there, but he doesn't look the same without Joshua.
I mean, the effort's there, you know. He's still crashing on the boards, on the forechecks, but yeah, with Pettersson and Hoglander for most of the start, hasn't been the same without him with Dak and Bluger.
No way. So I think when that line comes back together, that'll be a huge spark for the Canucks. Their third line was maybe their brightest spot last season, if I'm being honest, throughout the playoffs. You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their third line was unbelievable. So if they come back and that third line starts sparking again, obviously that can only mean great things, especially if you're sending a guy like Ratu or Baines down, which, no offense to those guys, but on a Stanley Cup roster, they're not on it.
They're not fourth liners.
They're not fourth liners on it. And the Canucks have high playoff hopes this year. We have to remember, like, these aren't temperate expectations, oh, we just want to make the playoffs. This is a year where they need to make a deep run. And the only way they make a deep run goes to my second positive point, which is Demko should be coming back soon. Now, goodness, this injury, we've kind of determined that it's unlike anything we've seen for a goalie, anything we've really seen for an athlete, as far as I know. So obviously that's scary. Anytime you see an injury that you've never seen before, you kind of talk about it through gritted teeth. But they've been talking about he's going to be coming back for a while now.
I mean, did he play in the preseason?
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
I think his training camp he injured
himself again. Yeah, re-injured himself. And with knees as a goalie and all that flexion, it is scary. However, all reports have been that he'll be back at least before the playoffs. If he does that, if he returns to not Vezina form, but let's say top 15 form.
That's what we need.
That's all you need.
Lankinen, how he's playing right now, who's been arguably better than Demko has been.
100%.
With his Canucks tenure. So you have those two tandem, that's a top 3, 2, 1.
100%.
But disappointing with Shilovs, though. He's hasn't looked like his playoff self from last season. Rough start against the New Jersey Devils recently.
Yeah. What'd you see in that game? You were there live.
I was not. Personally, it was Braden.
Oh, Braden was there.
But I know he just, I mean, he was hung out to dry on a few of those goals. Because the Canucks defense has not been well at all. It's not been solid.
No.
But, I mean, the save percentage is somewhere in the mid-800s, which is not backup caliber at all.
No. And that kind of leads me into my other negative, which is the Canucks, and I've been begging for them to do this since, well, you guys know, I made a whole video about this before the season. It's such a glaring hole that they need another puck-moving defenseman. Because in the playoffs, the reason they got beat by the Oilers was it was just so hard for them to break the puck out against the Oilers' speed, because their defense, awesome in the corners, don't get me wrong, they'll win puck battles, but when it comes to actually moving the puck and skating and breaking it out, they've got one guy who can really do that consistently. Hronik's not, he's fine, but he's not a real puck mover.
He's not been solid this start of the season either, especially on the defensive side. He always looks out of place and challenging pucks that he doesn't need to.
100%. Myers obviously is not a puck mover whatsoever. Susie can't do it, so I think the Canucks are desperate to add another, like, Keith Yandel back in the day. You remember Keith Yandel? Like, someone like that who just is consistent, good skater, moves the puck, would be an awesome addition for the Canucks. That scares me. The other thing that terrifies me is Elias Pettersson a superstar anymore, or even a star? Because we've seen guys, especially guys who are smaller, have these unbelievable seasons, but they can't sustain it. And Big Red, I want to pass this to you.
Yeah.
What I've seen from Pettersson, it's concerning.
It is. I mean, you go back to the season before last season, 100 points, he looks promising. He's still young.
Yeah.
I think 25, 26. So, but I don't know. Just somewhere at the start of the, middle part of the season, last season, he just he never looked the same. He wasn't as aggressive. And that, even as a small player, he was aggressive,
Totally.
Pretty good forechecker, could get the puck off the boards, but this season he's not aggressive. He's kind of laying low, I'd say.
My theory on this for a little while, and it hasn't really changed that much, is that Rick Tocchet is obviously a very hard-nosed style coach. He kind of comes off of that John Tortorella philosophy of, bag skates and very rugged. He's not a player's coach, is the easiest way for me to put it. And Pettersson has a very timid personality. And he's kind of just goes with the flow. He seems like a bit of an introvert. I wonder if Tocchet's hard-hitting, boot-up-your-ass kind of coaching isn't really what Pettersson needs, and he needs more of that soft touch. That's kind of been my theory about it, is that him and Tocchet aren't the best fit. Obviously, Tocchet and JT Miller, that's a match made in heaven. Tocchet and Dakota Joshua, Tocchet and Connor Garland.
Sure would.
Right. All of these guys are just grinders who would fit under that kind of philosophy. Pettersson doesn't. And he's really kind of a lone wolf in that way. So I feel like that's always been a little part of it. But if he can't pick it up to at least an 80-point season.
I was going to say point per game.
Right, an 80-point season. If 39-year-old Sidney Crosby is still out producing you when you're in the prime of your career, I'm sorry, we need to look at your play, especially when he's making so much bloody money.
11.6, I think.
A stupid amount for someone who's been producing at his level. It has not been good. I think Pettersson might need a new forwards coach, or just, I don't know. But him and Tocchet, I don't think really works. I want to thank you all very much for, if you watched this far, wow. Leave a comment if you watched this far. I promise I will respond and DM you.
Comment bananas if you made it.
Comment bananas if you made it here, and I will DM you with something. I don't know what. I'll DM you with something. It'll be something fun, something for you guys to have. Really, really appreciate you tuning in to the first Spit Sports show in an actual studio. Fun stuff. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. The Spit Sports Show just hit over 375 subscribers. We're doing big things over on this channel. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed what you saw. And as always, for me and my co-host, Big Red, we will see you all in the next one. Peace out.